In the dark corners of the mind, lurking behind the polished facade we present to the world, dwells a stranger, a silent passenger on our journey through life. This stranger knows our deepest fears, our most guarded secrets, and the hidden aspects of ourselves that we dare not face. This is our shadow, a concept introduced by the pioneering psychoanalyst Carl Jung, that encapsulates the unacknowledged, repressed, and often darker sides of our personalities. Closer examination of the dark characteristics, that is, the inferiorities constituting the shadow, reveals that they have an emotional nature, a kind of autonomy, and accordingly an obsessive or better, possessive quality. Carl Jung. The birth of the shadow. In the early 20th century, on the cobbled streets of Zurich, a man was grappling with a profound internal struggle. This man was Carl Gustav Jung, a prominent psychiatrist and a one-time confidant of Sigmund Freud. But beneath his professional exterior, Jung was navigating a tumultuous sea of personal crises. Plagued by haunting visions and disturbing dreams, he embarked on a self-imposed exile from his work, retreating into the depths of his psyche. It was a harrowing journey, one fraught with fear and confusion, but it ultimately led him to a momentous discovery, the existence of the shadow. Haunted by images of a dark, brooding figure in his dreams, Jung recognized this figure as a part of his own psyche, a representation of the aspects of his personality that he had rejected or denied. These were traits he found unacceptable, aspects that were incompatible with his conscious identity. This dark figure, this shadow, was not a separate entity but a part of himself, a part that he had tried to disown. The realization was shocking and deeply unsettling, but it marked the birth of one of the most transformative concepts in modern psychology. Understanding the shadow. So, what exactly is this shadow that Jung grappled with? Picture an iceberg. The tip that breaks the surface of the water represents our conscious self, the part of us that we acknowledge and present to the world. However, beneath the surface lies a much larger mass, hidden from sight. This submerged part, this unseen behemoth, represents our shadow. The shadow is composed of the aspects of our personality that we reject or neglect, characteristics, impulses, and emotions we consider inappropriate or unacceptable. These could range from feelings of anger and jealousy to desires and traits that clash with societal expectations or our own self-image. These rejected parts don't disappear, they merely sink beneath the surface of our consciousness, integrating into our shadow. The shadow is not inherently evil or bad, as its ominous name might suggest. It is simply a part of us that we've disowned or ignored, a mirror reflecting the parts of ourselves we're unwilling to see. But like a stranger walking beside us in a dimly lit alley, our shadow can induce unease. It is a silent passenger on our journey through life, a repository of all that we've chosen to hide away, giving it a profound influence on our actions, perceptions, and our relationships with others. The danger of ignoring the shadow. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. At all counts, it forms an unconscious snag, thwarting our most well-meant intentions. Carl Jung. Imagine a room filled with discarded objects. Over time, the clutter grows, consuming space, causing discomfort, and perhaps even becoming a hazard. Ignoring our shadow is similar. The longer we deny its existence, the more it grows, impacting our lives in ways we might not even be aware of. One of the most insidious dangers of an ignored shadow is projection. Unwilling to acknowledge our own flaws and unwanted characteristics, we often project them onto others. We spot in others what we deny in ourselves. This can lead to conflict, misunderstanding, and strained relationships. Another alarming consequence of an unacknowledged shadow is its tendency to seize control during moments of stress or emotional upheaval. Like a locked beast breaking free, these repressed aspects can surface, leading us to act in ways that surprise and even frighten us. This can manifest as sudden outbursts of anger, irrational behavior, or destructive habits. Ignoring the shadow also leads to a state of inner discord. By denying parts of our personality, we are essentially denying our full self, leading to feelings of incompleteness and dissatisfaction. The story of a self-saboteur. Let us now delve into the world of the everyday, and meet a seemingly average individual we will call Striver. Striver was like many of us, pursuing dreams, setting goals, and striving to better his life. He worked diligently, putting in long hours and relentless effort. Each goal was like a mountain peak, a summit to be reached, and Striver would begin each climb with unwavering determination. Yet, as he neared the top of each mountain, something peculiar occurred. Just as the peak was within his reach, Striver would stumble. Unseen obstacles would suddenly appear, self-imposed deadlines would be missed, meticulously planned strategies would be abandoned. It was as though he was tying his own shoelaces together, setting himself up for a fall just before his moment of triumph. Beneath Striver's conscious desire for success, a hidden force was at play. His shadow, filled with deeply ingrained fears of unworthiness and failure, was pulling the strings from the sidelines. This was his unacknowledged internal saboteur, whispering words of self-doubt and fabricating obstacles when success was imminent. The turning point came when Striver, on the verge of achieving a long-sought goal, inexplicably quit his project. This shocking act of self-sabotage left him dazed and frustrated, pushing him to introspect and uncover the source of his irrational actions. In the solitude of his thoughts, Striver began to recognize the presence of his sabotaging shadow. He discovered his deep-seated fears, the feelings of inadequacy that he had buried under his ambitious pursuits. Shadow work, the journey within. Let us now venture into the labyrinth of self-discovery, walking the path of shadow work. Shadow work begins as a voyage into the unknown. Imagine yourself on a quiet, introspective night, noticing your emotional reactions that seem larger than life, like a storm in a teacup. This disproportionate response to an external event can often be your shadow whispering, hinting at a hidden aspect that yearns to be seen. Next, imagine walking deeper into the labyrinth, stepping into the hallowed halls of self-reflection. This can take many forms: a quiet conversation with oneself while journaling, a moment of profound silence during meditation, or an exploration of the psyche with a trusted therapist. The aim is to gently illuminate the corners of your shadow, acknowledging its presence without fear or judgment. As you journey further, you reach a strange mirror. This mirror doesn't reflect your physical form but projects the characteristics of those around you. This is the mirror of projection identification. Gazing into this mirror, you might see traits that cause a stir within you: a friend's stubbornness, a stranger's arrogance, or even a loved one's resilience. These strong reactions are often projections of our own disowned qualities, echoing from our shadow. And finally, the heart of the labyrinth, the integration of the shadow. This is not a call to act on our darkest impulses, but an invitation to recognize them as part of our complex self. Picture yourself standing in the center of the labyrinth, holding a lantern that casts light on both your virtues and vices, your joys and fears. This is the moment of integration, the acceptance of the light and dark within us, leading to a profound understanding of our unique identity. This journey, this shadow work, is not a one-off trek but a lifelong expedition. It's a continual exploration of authenticity and self-awareness, a journey that transforms not only our relationship with ourselves but also with the world around us. The collective shadow, society's hidden face. So far, we've delved into the shadows of individuals, but what about society as a whole? Just as individuals have shadows, so too do societies. This collective shadow is formed from societal norms, values, and behaviors that are suppressed or denied. Imagine a bustling city, alive with diverse cultures, traditions, and people. It thrives on cooperation and shared values, presenting a picture of unity and harmony. However, beneath this shared identity, the city, like all societies, harbors a collective shadow. This shadow comprises the biases, prejudices, and injustices that the society unconsciously chooses to ignore or deny. Occasionally, this collective shadow erupts into the public sphere, causing shockwaves that ripple through the society. Instances of racial tension, social inequality, and political unrest often stem from this unacknowledged shadow. The journey towards recognizing and integrating the collective shadow is a challenging one, requiring societal introspection and systemic change. Just as individuals can grow through shadow work, societies too can evolve by acknowledging and addressing their collective shadow. The road is long and winding, but as history has shown, societies that embark on this path pave the way for a more inclusive and equitable future. Conclusion: Embracing the shadow. As we step out of the shadowy realms of Carl Jung's philosophy and back into the light, we are left with a profound understanding of the human psyche. We've learned that the shadow, whether personal or collective, isn't something to be feared or suppressed. Rather, it is a vital part of our being that demands recognition and integration. It is within the dark folds of our shadows that we find the keys to personal growth, authenticity, and ultimately, transformation. The process of uncovering and integrating our shadow, as challenging as it may be, is an enriching journey into our own depths. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, please consider clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel.